While it's a fairly new practice, more farmers are now applying fungicides early in corn in order to get ahead of disease issues and for improvements in overall plant health.
One of the main benefits of applying the early season fungicide would be to keep the stress that would be on that crop at that time frame to a minimum. There's obviously a lot of environmental factors that we cannot control, but if we can limit the amount of disease pressure that that plant goes through at an early stage, we can try to maximize the amount of yield production we get out of that plant. From our retail side, roughly 80 to 85% of our acres that we treat are treated early season with a fungicide. 5 years ago, I couldn't say that. Now I can say that, and we've seen a huge movement towards that early application. It saves the farmer money, it saves the retailer time, and it makes sense.
V5 is the early part of the growth stage of the plant, and it's an important stage in the corn development because you need to manage any kind of stresses that you can. Some you can't manage, such as the temperature, but if you can manage the water and fertility, and especially some diseases, then that's going to help with development of the ear. And the ear is what's happening at V5. It's the very beginning where you have the number of kernels around the ear developing, as well as the number of kernels per row. And those help determine the final yield components of your corn plant. So if you can apply a fungicide, say at V5 stage, then that's going to help protect the plant and allow it to manufacture more food for itself to get into that corn root as well as the ear. And so the ear really takes off at V6, which is 3-4 days later, but that's the critical part of when things are happening. Another little tidbit is that at V5, that's when the plant's taking up its most potassium in the soil. And so if you can have a good, healthy plant, then you're going to have the maximum uptake of that potassium that's going to be used throughout the rest of the growing period. And then sometimes too, it's kind of a problem is that we have volunteer corn in our planted corn. So this volunteer corn doesn't have any seed treatment, it's basically unprotected corn. And so it's going to be a magnet for any diseases that can also give it to the other corn that you want for your yield. So if you spray your fungicide across all this corn, you're still going to even protect those volunteer corn plants that are protected as well, so that if they do have a disease, it's not going to get over to your crop that you want.
We're definitely seeing a big difference putting Affiance on versus a test that don't have any fungicide on. We're seeing, like I say, we're seeing a lot healthier plant. And it's equating to yield. The yield is much better.
The advantages of the fungicides was definitely the yield. I mean, that's first and foremost, but also the standability of the crops. Harvestability was easier. Plant health is unbelievably better, especially under high stress situations.
When making an early fungicide application in corn, it is important to use a fungicide that is mobile inside of the plant.
A mobile fungicide means that once you spray it on the plant, it goes into the leaf, and then it can be transported within the plant to various other leaves up, or else it can go down into the roots on some fungicides. And so what that does is it gives overall plant protection, whereas a contact fungicide just sprays on the leaf and it only sits there and it doesn't move whatsoever. So it just provides contact only. So anything that new grows out of the corn plant is unprotected from there. Whereas with a mobile fungicide, even the new growth is protected with that fungicide.
Due to its unique property of being highly mobile inside plants, Affiance fungicide from Gowan Company allows for protection of both existing plant tissue and new growth that emerges after application to produce extended disease protection.
Affiance is a fungicide offered by Gowan Company. It contains two important active ingredients, tetraconazole and azoxystrobin, that are important for a broad spectrum of disease control for corn and soybean growers in the Midwest. Affiance is unique because of a couple reasons. First, the formulation. As a microemulsion, it means the active ingredient particles are up to 1,000 times smaller than some of our competitors. That means we have more thorough coverage, and that's better for penetration into the plant leaf surface. The other characteristic of Affiance that makes it unique is the solubility. It's what we like to call optimum soluble. So it has solubility enough to penetrate the leaf surface, solubility enough to translocate through the plant and last for maybe more than 30 days, but not so soluble that it sinks into the growing points and accumulates in any one part of the plant. And that optimum solubility in our formulation allows for great application flexibility from V5 to VT. Can be sprayed by ground or air. I think that solubility is what gives growers and fertilizer dealers great flexibility with Affiance fungicide.
One of the reasons we would choose Affiance over a competitor would be for it's systemic in the plant. It moves in the plant. A lot of fungicides don't move. So when it moves in a plant, it protects all new leaves and also protecting that plant all the way through harvest. And that's a big deal.
While the disease protection Affiance fungicide provides is important, applying Affiance fungicide early also allows for improvements in root size, stalk strength, and early season ear development.
With Affiance, we're seeing a nice increase in stalk diameter and overall ear size in comparison to some of the other fungicides that we've used in the past.
One of the benefits we've seen with Affiance is greater standability because we're able to deliver a little bit greater stalk diameter from early season plant health. And so for someone who has thousands of acres of corn to combine and they're going to be in the combine 6 to 8 weeks, it's nice to get to that last field and know the corn is still going to stand. Those are the types of people and customers that we recommend Affiance fungicide to.
The root systems on the treated plants are exceptionally more. You'll see a lot more of the, maybe not necessarily the main roots, but the hair roots, and the root structures are a lot thicker and heavier. The stalks is definitely stronger. The outside rind will be thicker. You'll see a lot more, just in overall health, which also increases your standability factor. There's just no doubt. I've dug up plants, and it's an obvious difference between the two.
When we dig roots today, the root size is a lot larger, so the standability is much better. We're seeing a much healthier plant, so it stands better, and the leaf width is a lot wider with the fungicide at V5 stage.
With constant focus on the needs of the market, Gowan has a 50-year track record of bringing science-based solutions to the crop protection industry, which has earned this family-owned company the reputation of being the go-to company.
Gowan Company represents a number of products for corn and soybean growers. One that I'm particularly fond of is Yukon herbicide. Yukon is a great tank mix partner to Affiance. It can be sprayed early season with glyphosate. Yukon is also a combination of 2 active ingredients, which helps to manage weed resistance and controls nutsedge, ragweed, morning glories, water hemp. Makes a great glyphosate tank mix partner, Yukon herbicide. We also make another herbicide that our corn and soybean growers are interested in called Vita. Vita is a PPO mode of action, which means we're able to help glyphosate-resistant weeds and help glyphosate perform even better. The neat thing about Vita herbicide is that it's registered both pre-emerge and post-emerge on corn and soybeans, further enhancing the fertilizer dealer growers' flexibility.
Gowan is a unique company in the industry because one is we're a privately owned company and we're built really on agriculture. The company started really with a crop consulting as a start and then got into retail, working with retail business, and then also now into formulation of chemistry and then marketing. And so it really built from the ground up, from finding the true needs or niches that we see in the opportunities with agriculture. And so the decisions aren't made in a boardroom or an office. They're really made out in the field when you're walking with that grower to find those solutions and hear their problems by themselves. And we're focused on those areas of opportunity. And we want to work directly with the American farmer to find new solutions. And that's how we prosper and we'll work forward in the future. The grower and the industry are always looking for ways to be more competitive, and we're American farmers. We're competing against other countries for the food production demand, but we want to be more efficient. The constant need and desire to find new technology because you're always fighting nature, whether it be weed resistance, plant resistance to different things, pathogens, insects, and there's always something new that's going to come out there that's going to be a challenge. Gowan continues to take a lot of steps to further support farmers and encourage new interest and development in new chemistry and ideas. And we always continue to foster